Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I've spent the last week out on the west coast, and obviously I had to go look for new spots there because all my other videos are all filmed on the east coast, which is, let's just say, where I fish, right? So anyways, I had to find new spots. While I was doing that, I was kind of thinking, I could definitely share this information and try show you guys what to look for. Now, you won't always be successful, as I wasn't, but here's the thing, your fundamentals are still going to apply and be the same. In fairness, I didn't want to bring down bait, or obviously it was Valentine's Day weekend, so I didn't want to be looking for bait or keeping bait around the house or just pissing the woman off with all that. So what I'm going to be using as a little bit of a source just to help us guide each other with my illustrations is my Angler's Compendium. This is my monthly written magazine, of which now, by the way, I do a weekly free trial, so you can read into it and read it for a week. I guarantee probably even if you squeeze it in, you get it all finished within the week. So you can just do that and cancel it if you're ever interested. But what I'm going to talk about today is how I found the spots, what I was looking for, what are the fundamentals, what even is it that you're looking for? Because I know a lot of people, they tend to just spam up all the fishing forum groups with questions all the time and ask things like, what's a good spot? Is that good nowadays? Is that good this time of year? And when you ask a question and you get the answer, but you don't get the method, you will get the result, but you won't understand why. That's why when you're doing maths in school, they tell you to show you your equation. And in a way, this is me showing you my equation. Now, the only difficult part about fishing is the equation, what's on the right side of it, what you get at the end of it, isn't always going to be a fish, okay? And, this time of year, trying a bit of lure fishing, it was a little bit hopeful. But, you hear about how magical the West Coast is, so I decided, fuck it, why not, But I will show you basically how I found all the spots and how I found any spot ever when I've gone to go fish. And hopefully that can kind of apply over to you and make everything a little bit more streamlined, a little bit easier to follow along. Right, so here we go. Let me just dive into the first part right now. Right, okay. So why did I choose this position here? Okay, this is where we were staying. We're staying in Ballyvaughan, okay. So why did I choose this spot, and why did I choose down here at Bishop's Quarter Beach in particular to fish? So something I'm going to talk about is all the structure. So you can kind of see very clearly where you can walk to and what you can actually access on foot at high tide. That'll normally be characterized by the grass. Sometimes you can play it risky and play on the rocks. You can see kind of the weed line at where it washes up right there and all the rest. I wouldn't necessarily count on that, especially on a day with very, very high tide. Just be careful that you don't get stuck. But okay, I chose Bishop's Quarter Beach because you can see, look at the weed, kind of come around all around it. I could tell that this was some kind of a bridge, and I would also then have flow in here, and then I would obviously by definition then have slack water in here at the end because there's no continuation of the flow out to the beach. So I knew there was two spots that I could try fish, and technically as well here in the slack water, because you can kind of tell what direction the water's taking. You can't always tell which way it's going in or out, but you can kind of tell which way that the water is creating a current. So you can tell, but therefore, by looking at that, and I'll have a video example of me standing right here, showing that there is plenty of slack water here, but right here on the bridge, and but basically straight out exactly where I'm pointing to here, you had kind of turbulent water that was moving quite quickly. Reason why you don't want to cast into turbulent water is A, your lure is going to be all over the place, but B, it doesn't tend to be where fish sit. Fish are kind of like us, they're opportunistic in a lot of ways. They want to have kind of an easier meal, so they talk about this when you're looking and analyzing streams for trout fishing. You basically look for the quiet areas that are next to streams, and then you cast there, because fish are basically waiting for food to come either downstream or kind of up the current or down the current, whichever way you're looking at this. and they would kind of tend to sit in the slack water and then strike kind of into the current to go eat the stuff. If you cast them on the slack water, then logic follows that you would then catch a fish. So, right, here you have all these weeds as well. Again, we're using Google Earth. We don't always have the capability to know what state the tide is at when we're looking at it. We can kind of make an educated guess if we pull up something like windy. We can kind of see that the variations in tide here at this position are quite extreme. You're looking at sometimes a 5 meter difference in the tide, like quite literally a 5 meter difference. So the you can't count on it too much, but you know definitely that at least the structure is there. It's actually quite useful when the tide is low or the water is very clear on the day they took the image. So I knew that I had weeds. I knew that I had pretty big rocks. So there was good structure here, and I knew that the tide was great. All these three factors put together will basically lend itself to a very good and useful spot for you. I hope this kind of insight is a little bit useful here. I'll try show you guys one more example of another time I did this, and but I'll use kind of let's just put it a more tropical example, right? Just to be more, just to emphasize. And we're going right here. Right. So this is a water treatment plant. It's for wastewater. Okay. And what I did was I looked at that. I looked at the structure, and here you can tell by this image. I remember I had a different image at the time. I think I cycled through the years. You can probably do that. Yeah, historical imagery from 1985. Okay. Anyways, we'll keep it to the clearest one. There is a pipe here, right here, that is kind of casting out the clean water from here. What does that normally mean? That means the water that comes from here is probably going to be at higher temperature, or at least a different temperature than the sea. What do fish like? Kind of big differences in temperature. They'll kind of hang around here. Sometimes maybe a little bit of food will come out of the pipe. Food can be everything. It doesn't necessarily have to be the actual shit that people are shitting and hopefully is clean, but it could be anything. Basically, anywhere that you can have access of anything falling from the land into the sea, or any kind of flow of water of fresh into the sea is a good spot to fish. So anyways, I knew that this pipe was here because I had asked whether this is it because I saw it on Google Maps, and I got a confirmation yes, so this is where I fished. You can see kind of by the sharp difference between, you can kind of see the bottom here and then suddenly you see blue. You can tell that the drop off in depth is quite sharp. Okay, so it doesn't take a genius to see that this kind of just goes and just kind of falls off the shelf down here. It's hard to tell exactly at what depth this camera can see, but in general, when you're kind of up above it and you're diving, if you look down at about, I'd say 10, 15 meters, then at that point you are not really seeing the bottom very clearly from the top, depending on the stillness of the water and the current in the area. But we'll place this area here at about 10 meters, and that would be my anecdotal example from diving. Here, in this position, I managed to hook up with a mahi-mahi, which is this fella here. I didn't manage to get him on, as in actually pull him up to land. He kind of flopped around all over the place and tore the little leader I had, which was, a moment of pain and suffering for me. But the point is, the spot hypothetically works just fine. And as you can tell, I gave myself multiple options. So if I didn't want to fish the pipe, I had this kind of a shallower, reefier outcrop, which I could fish all the way through here. Now, here's where I'll talk about the kind of the perils of going on Google Maps to kind of do this kind of research. You see this spot and you go, nice structure, everything looks really nice. I've got a whole beach to fish. What you don't consider necessarily all the time is accessibility, or how easily accessible this is. Google Maps couldn't possibly have known that I wanted to, gone and Google Earth couldn't have possibly known that I could have wanted to go fish here. And I was looking at it and I was like, yeah. So what I did was I took a line from here and I walked past a few caravans and everything else right here into the bush. This is actually quite thick bush. I had a I had a bit of a trail there for me, and that was okay. But getting down to a lot of these spots was actually inaccessible, or it was very, very uncomfortable. The rocks were super jagged and totally vertical, and it's not really a great place to fish. The only place I realized that I could fish was down here, along this ridge. So remember, it's all well and good to look at this and go, "Wow, what a dream, what a dream." If you don't have access, then you're trolled. Okay, you're wasting your time. So just I want you guys to keep in mind that you're not always going to be able to kind of access your super duper dream spot. So this whole video has been actually an oral retelling of my Angler's Compendium, which is my monthly fishing magazine. Um, in it, I actually go a little bit deeper in depth. I talk about kind of how to analyze depth charts and what to look at there, and kind of how to. I did a few little pretty juvenile illustrations, but I think useful nonetheless, of how to look at wind direction and how to then fish certain coastal features with wind direction. Um, I think I'll start bringing more and more of the content that I write over there to here, just as a kind of a case in point, because like I said, I just recently made it a week free trial, so you can definitely get it read within the week, and like, I think all of them, like 6 months worth, within the week. Um, so yeah, if you guys like it, if you want to have a look, that'll be in the description. Obviously, there's a few slides on screen as we see. Um, if you like and support the content, this is what I want to produce. Uh, just for total transparency, I it's €5 a month. I produce it, so if you guys subscribe or do anything like that, you can effectively get something for it rather than just paying money towards me. And it's something else I have to do, which will provide value for you guys. And obviously, if you watch the videos, it'll be referenced in the videos, so on and so forth. So anyways, I'd like to thank you all very much for your support, your watching, your view, your comments, your like, either here or on TikTok. The support has been outrageous and tremendous. And I wish you all the best, Dan. Until next time, God bless and tight lines.